Boom.
Boom. Oh my God. Welcome everybody. Just like that.
Hey.
We are live. How is everyone doing? Welcome to episode 5 of Crossing the Streams, the only show where we cross streams every week. It's so exciting. But first, without further ado, we have a theme song to get to. Our special guest, Tina, is going to take us through the same theme song. Here we go.
I'll try.
Tina.
Here's the story of some lonely fellows who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me. They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff and Ron and Sal and Bob, and there's Howard. They call it Crossing Streams. And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we cross the streams. We cross the streams. We cross the streams. That's the way we do it here. We cross the streams.
Da, da, da.
Waterfall.
Fantastic.
She's hired. She's just gonna have to do it every week now.
Yeah.
Every week we freak out. We're like, who's going to do the theme song? And Tina's like, I'll do the theme song. And I'm like, sold.
Got it.
So welcome everybody to Crossing the Streams. This is episode 5. We're real excited to have you here. I'm Jeff Dwoskin. What is Crossing the Streams? Crossing the Streams. I started the Jeff Dwoskin Show, a podcast back in May, and I had no idea what content I was going to do. And my buddies Ron and Howard, who we always kind of just talk about TV and stuff, I call him up. I'm like, we got to do something. And he's like, well, let's talk about TV shows. And like, oh, that's cool. And Ron's like, let's call it Crossing the Streams. I had a different name. I don't even remember the name. And so we put out a couple episodes way back when. They were real popular. And then I saw my friend Tina and some other people. They're doing live shows. And we're like, let's do a live show because we were going to do more episodes of Crossing the Streams. And here we are, episode 5. We're 5 in. It's so exciting. So exciting.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay. So
They said we couldn't make it to 5.
They said, right. They said you'll never make it. You'll never make it. So what is?
I made it.
No, we made it. So just as a kind of a recap, in episode 4, the Christmas episode, now available on YouTube or our Instagram channel at Jeff Dwoskin Show. You can go there or watch it on at Jeff is Funny on Facebook or the Scene Snobs channel and as well. But we featured A California Christmas, which was a Netflix show that only Sal, I think, to this day is still seen.
It's up 32% this week, just because of what I talked about. It's up 32% on Netflix. Go ahead.
Good job.
Green Book is one of those movies that I think just had a Christmas tree in the background. So Bob said it's a Christmas show.
There was more.
And then Bad Santa, Elf, which is the greatest Christmas movie ever made. And then A Very Brady Christmas, which didn't necessarily get a positive review, but the episode is worth checking out just to hear Ron Lippett's synopsis of A Brady Christmas. It's great. This week, just to kind of give you a sneak, we're going to talk about Mythic Quest, Snowpiercer, DaVincis Demons, The Light Diamonds, which is the sequel, and The Lighthouse and The Social Dilemma. Those are those are coming up. That's a little teaser for you as we get through some of our initial stuff. I do want to say we lost a TV legend. We lost Marianne, folks. We lost Marianne.
Great picture, though.
That's me and Marianne.
Wow.
Don Wells, the great Don Wells. So just wanted to give a TV.
How long ago was that?
That was 2010. That was my 2010 weight. If you want to go to my Instagram, if you want to go to Big Macher on Instagram, you can see a history of my weight fluctuation. It's I didn't realize that's the way it was going to be. I didn't realize that's
asking to find out how old Dawn Wells was in the picture. She was 72 and she looks better than all of us.
You might have hit a sensitive point there, Bobby.
I know.
She was 72 there. 72. So that
And can we just end the debate right now? way hotter than ginger. Come on. I mean,
Oh yeah, I agree with you, Ron.
Oh yeah. Oh,
But
for
all
sure.
I
of
don't know.
Betty
I don't
White
know that I can go that far.
No. Marianne, if you look at Marianne, go back now and look at the photos.
Mrs. Howell for me,
Beautiful,
man.
beautiful. Mrs. Howell. But Sal's in it for the money. Sal loves the money. He's
anything you say, Lovey.
Anyway, so hopefully 2020 will end soon, and people will just. I think no one's going to supposed
Stop
to die
dying,
in 2021. Yeah, I think that's.
Isn't it over like tomorrow?
It is. Well, yeah, it's I guess tomorrow.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Tina, we have a special guest, our second guest ever. We have Tina Marie Trimpert. She is the host of the Psyche-Delic Podcast.
Yeah.
She runs an amazing summit called Indie Pods United. Tina, welcome to the show. Tell everyone about you. You have a few.
Sure. Well, first of all, big Jeff fan. Go to jeffisfunny.com. Second of all, yes, I have the Psyche-Delic Podcast, not the psychedelic. Everybody always thinks that, but like there's a hyphen there for a reason. So Psyche-Delic. You can go to the website, the Psyche-Delicpodcast.com. And just like everybody always says, we're on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, etc. And everywhere you get your podcasts from.
That's true.
You know the drill. And it's pretty much everywhere. And go to indiepodsunited.com. We always have 80 plus hours of live streaming podcasts. The next one's in July. So super excited about that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
We'll have to get Sal and Bob. We'll have to get Sal and Bob involved with the Indie Pods United. They have the Sal and Bob Show.
We're in.
The Sal and Bob Show.
Yes.
Okay.
Which isn't to be confused with the Bob and Sal show. It's a totally different show.
That's a whole different thing. Whole different vibe.
That show sucks.
Bob is currently in
Welcome,
Akron,
Tina.
So, Tina, speaking of New Year's Eve being tomorrow, as you so eloquently pointed out, do you have any special plans for tomorrow?
Not at all. I mean, we all saw the Thanksgiving Macy's Day Parade, and I never want to see Jimmy Fallon do cartwheels again. And
Fair.
the ball dropping is going to be weird. So I think I'll just
Again?
drop my own ball.
Jimmy
Right.
Fallon not doing cartwheels again. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Hey, good news. Sal's ball dropped just last week.
Jeff, she put it right over the plate for you. Yeah.
I was surprised someone else didn't pick it up. I'm like, I can't believe it's been sitting there for 3
It
seconds.
was-
Well,
I wasn't gonna say it.
It's the
I had-
steroids
I
they
had-
put in the Boston market chicken.
I had a
doesn't love
joke I was going to
Baltimore?
do later, and you ruined it.
Oh man. So Howard, what you got going on?
So last week I mentioned that I had ordered a special dinner for Christmas. I ordered pizzas to be shipped from Lou Malnati's in Chicago, which is my favorite and my wife's favorite. They didn't ship. They arrived. They shipped out on the 23rd. They arrived yesterday. And when we opened the box, they were no longer frozen after sitting in a UPS warehouse for a week lost. But to their credit, good customer service. I know they're listening to the podcast, so shout out to the folks at Lou Malnati's. They immediately sent out replacements, which arrived today and will be good to go for New Year's Eve tomorrow.
Perfect.
So that's it. Just sitting at home. We're still trying to feel better and be in the new house with the new puppy, and that is it. So just relaxing. Ron?
Yeah, like all of us, we're sitting at home trying not to be sick, Bob. Here's my big plan is I'm going to smoke 17 pounds of 2,000 of a cow. So 17 of it is going on my smoker tomorrow morning. So that's my big plan. I'm going to eat a unfathomable amount of beef.
Nice.
and get the sweats and then
Brisket?
go to brisket.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're eating my neighbors.
Yeah, probably.
She lives near cows, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. Actually, you know what you do? The method now is you buy sections of cows, like quarter cow, half cow. So I'm a half cow kind of guy. That's the way I roll. But the back half, not the front half. So if that makes sense. So I'm sorry, Sally. What's going on with you?
Well, first of all, Ron, you first said you were going to smoke 17 pounds. I thut you were talking about weed. Holy cow. Got Snoop Dogg on the line over here.
Banana Kush.
New Year's Eve. Well, let's see. I'm in limbo here because my show partner, who's going to talk to you here in a minute, might be positive with COVID. And I did a show with him 4 days ago. So I'm waiting for my test. And if it comes back negative, I'm going to stay home. If it comes back positive, I'm going to go out. So just kidding. But I'm kind of waiting for that. But if I can, I'm going to have a steak with my dad and my brother.
Beautiful.
Nice. Beef seems to be the operative word.
Yeah, no kidding.
So Bob, I guess cat's out of the bag. You may or may not have the COVID.
Yeah, I've got to go for another test tomorrow. It's unbelievable. The first one said positive, and I did 2 in the same day because one is a rapid and one is a regular one they send out for the results. And that one came back negative today. So I called and said, what do I do here? They said, well, come on back in. We'll give you a third one for free. This is for real. Right. And, so you can get the answer to this. So, it's, you know what? I don't know. I don't know where it's going to land. We'll see.
Well, that's the beauty of Obamacare. The third one's free.
Yeah.
Well, I had my test in an alley today off a guy. He had some syringes. He was in an alley. I gave him $100. He said to text him. He said to text him tomorrow for my results.
Did he give you a WhatsApp number?
That's also where you picked up Ron's 17 pounds. Right?
Man, so I didn't even tell her. I didn't test positive, but I told my mother-in-law I did. So because she was like hinting at coming over.
Nice.
And so actually we just have cutouts of all the family now. So it's like a sporting event. So we just have the whole family that's just cut out and it's gonna be sitting around. So it's kind of fun. And then the mother-in-law one is kind of over the bed, which is a little disturbing.
She's watching you.
Yeah.
She's right there.
Always watching. So I think it's because we have this amazing guest, but we have let's see, we have a few. I want to call out the people watching. We have Jerry. He's praying for you, Bob. I think that's what those emojis mean.
Oh, it
may be out of context. I don't know what it is, but CBiz TV Sal is also a big fan of alleyway testing, and I believe most of the House and the Senate are in favor of that too.
That's how I passed the SAT.
Solid.
Tina, just so you know, Robert is watching. He did comment.
He's also walking right there and out the door. He's gone. He's leaving.
He says, "Wait till I get my stimulus." Which you could, if he says it dirty, if you say that dirty,
nice.
Wait till I get my stimulus.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. And then say thanks on some Don Wells things, and then we got Scott Curtis. Scott Curtis has a social dilemma of his own. He's an introvert, but he's looking forward to that. We got hey all. We got thank you words from these people are obviously from all over. We have 17 countries, 49 states. We just lost a few states. We lost a few states.
Hey,
Brian Dressler is
my neighbor.
Yeah, Brian Dressler, your neighbor.
Don't do it in the backyard, Brian. I can see it from here.
And
Mick Manhattan.
Oh, Mick Manhattan.
Hey, is CRP on?
No.
It's Mickey Manhattan. How you doing, Mickey?
I didn't realize what Mick looked like. So nice.
We got YouTube star Jess Paul.
That's my boo.
All right.
So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Thank you, Jess Paul. Welcome.
And then some nobodies.
Yeah.
Scott Curtis
You're not a nobody if you're on Crossing the Streams. That changed just now.
This is like cred. This is cred. Just Paul's cred.
It's like getting the yellow pages.
You're not a nobody. You're somebody that nobody's seen.
They're somebodies.
And then Jerry hopes your ball stops 6 feet from the base, Sal. So that's.
I don't get it.
Wait, somebody's mother-in-law is watching.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's my mother-in-law.
Your
Shout out to my
mother,
mother-in-law.
your mother-in-law's Venus M61.
That's her name. Her name is Venus.
Really?
Really? Because I thought that was
Wow.
her Tinder name. She signed in with her Tinder account by accident.
Jesus.
I'm gonna take so much shit for that.
I love how she's like,
Oh,
MIL.
man.
She's like,
Oh
totally
my
like,
god.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god. Thanks, Jeff. I'm sleeping,
Nice.
sleeping on the couch.
That's going to be
tonight
a
for
fun
sure.
conversation later.
That's gonna trickle downhill for sure. So-
oh man, too funny.
My
Too-
mother-in-law, I will tell you this, for Christmas, made me especially a copycat recipe of one of my favorite cookies, the sugar cookie from Potbelly Sandwiches.
Ooh.
And she made them so perfectly matching the restaurant cookie. Oh, superb. I ate one before I came on. You know, I ate one with my Sour Patch Kids from the Mondelez Global Corporation.
Nonetheless,
That sounds
I'm-
horrible.
I'm trying to draw them back into a conversation. I think it was just the holidays. I'm hoping they pick this up and watch after the first of the year, and they'll be more open to business conversations about sponsorship.
I understand what you're saying because nothing holds things up like Scotch tape.
Only
true.
you would have Scotch tape right next to you.
I do have Scotch tape because when I interview people, I make all these notes and I have literally like a wall of like notes when I'm late so I can do it. Speaking of, since you brought up baking, I made a banana cream pie today. It's my wife's birthday. Happy birthday, Robin.
happy birthday,
Happy
Robin.
birthday,
Robin.
Robin. Yeah.
And so I made a pie, banana cream pie with my daughter Emma. And so here's just a tip for everyone: 8 ounces is a cup, right? We all know that, right? But when the recipe calls for 4 cups of Cool Whip, a Cool Whip container, which is 8 ounces, is not apparently made in the same world as how other 8-ounce things work. So
You
one
used
8
4 tubs?
We bought 3 tubs because you needed 2.5 cups. And it turns out you only needed 1 because somehow math and the universe and the way things logistically work with Cool Whip is different than everything else. 8 ounces of Cool Whip is actually 30 something ounces of
It's like
So-
dark matter. It's just, it has a totally different ratio.
Thank you, Jerry.
Hey, I'd also like to mention, just to summarize again on the Christmas movies, there's word that I may get a holding deal to finally do a Cracker Barrel Christmas.
Well, and why wouldn't you? A Cracker Barrel Christmas starring Howard Rosner.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's a good segue. I think we need to start. Let's get into some shows. We got lots of great shows. I think this one that Sal's going to talk us through is one of the most important. This is a movie, but like one of the most important things out right now. So Sal, take it away, my friend.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I watched The Social Dilemma last week, and I tell you, it's basically just the rise of social media. It's kind of interesting watching a movie that you're kind of part of. I mean, it's us. It's what we're doing right now. It's when you pick up your phone, and it's just all these guys that used to work at Google and Facebook and Twitter. They just talk about their experiences on how they were building this product. I know it's not a product, but basically they were just trying to get you to look at your phone and click on ads, and it was so much stuff behind the scenes. It's interesting. And there was this one guy named Tristan Harris who worked for Google. He was the first one to kind of say, this isn't good for our younger generation. This isn't good for people. And it was really interesting. I'm not going to obviously go through the whole movie, but there was this one part, and it's very early on, where he tells a story about how he sent a presentation to about 7 people that worked at Google, and it was about kind of looking at the deficiencies of what they were doing and the negative aspects of the younger generation and what this was doing to people. And this email started going through everywhere around Google, 700-800 different people. And people were calling this guy going, yeah, you're exactly right. And then all of a sudden it just fizzled away and nobody talked about it. And the reason is because money was being made and they didn't care what it was doing to us as individuals being on social media. They talked about the younger generation kind of getting on there and maybe getting fat shamed or whatever, or you got to put these filters in to make you look beautiful. And they had like a little section with a little teenage girl kind of having her issues in her head with that. So it's just I thought it was a really good movie as far as showing us how we're just addicted to our phones. I thought this was really good. There's quotes throughout the movie, and one of the quotes that I thought really kind of hit me was like, the only two industries that use the word users is illegal drugs and software companies. And that just hit me like, wow, you know. So it has a lot of that. Then later on in the movie, it gets into kind of like social issues with the internet, how it can, you know, manipulate an election, manipulate factual stories, true stories. What's fake news? What isn't? What are they posting on Facebook? What are we searching for? What are we reading? It's just insane how that has, especially in 2020, how that's materialized. And then they kind of go into how it's affecting our COVID situation online, you know, kind of like what Bob's going through. I mean, he put it on Facebook of what he's going through on his daily activities of using COVID. And then we all flock to Bob's Facebook post. And that's what Google wants. They want us engaging with Bob and how are you doing? And that's how they make money. That's how the clicks are done online. And I don't know, it was really interesting. It's basically a business of trying to figure out our behaviors. That's what this one guy said. We want to figure out your behavior. We want to find out where you want to click to, what you want to search for. Anyway, good movie. I liked it. I give it 4 tomato sauce jars. Yes, 4 tomato sauce jars.
Sally, the line of that movie, I watched it too. It was very upsetting actually for me to watch that movie. But the line that has stuck with me all this time, I watched it like maybe 6 months ago, when they talked about how if you can't figure out in 30 seconds what the product is, you're the product.
Correct. Yeah, I like that one too.
And that has stuck with me because I'm always trying to figure out, well, what are they selling here? It's me. That's what they're ending up selling. It's my data. So anyway, thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, it was really well done. They had some like kind of acting scenes out on how social media is done through, you know, just how you open up your phone and your notifications. Another thing I felt was interesting. They talked to all these guys that worked with these software companies. And they talked to the guy that actually invented the like button on Facebook. He was one of the ones that started that. And he said he originally came up with that idea was because he thought it was good for us to like somebody's post or picture.
Serotonin.
Yeah, but it turned out to be the other way around where we feel like we need to have all these likes. And he said it was kind of reversed of how he invented it, but it turned out to be one of the biggest things Facebook ever did, obviously. So really interesting movie. If you if you use your phone at all, you should see this movie. So
it is a great movie. I saw it too. And if anyone hasn't seen it, it's one of those movies. They have some reenactments and some weird thing, but but the message is really, really important, really, for anyone who does engage, like Sal said, or has kids. And it's one of those things where the message that I kind of came away with was how you're like, oh, hey, you know what? Everyone I know thinks exactly like I think. And every time I post something like, hey, I don't like this political thing, then, you know, and everyone agrees with me. So I must be right. And then when the one person doesn't, well, that person's wrong. But here's the thing, that person's seeing everything from their point of view because the algorithms are serving up everything. So if Sal likes person A and I like person B, we're both being fed and trained that we're right. So when Sal and I then connect on social media and we start fighting, like it's like that's why. That's really what it is. It comes down to the manipulation of it. And the other important thing, which Sal did say, but I just it's worth repeating. It's not like, hi, I'm Bob. I'm the janitor and I was sweeping something and I found a letter. These are like people who actually have respectable positions at these roles or did. I mean,
Yes.
presidents and past CEOs of some of these major companies.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's like these nobodies that are
Yes,
like breaking
correct.
the thing. These are like people with particular stature that are kind of coming in and saying, no, this has got to stop. So
Yeah,
it's
I watched it too, actually. My older sister used to work for Google and Facebook, but she doesn't come away from it. And we all know that those Google bots are crawling all over our stuff. And we all know that we should probably get off of social media a little bit sometimes. So I'm sure it hits some people harder than others. I think it depends on how you use the media and what
exactly.
you're using it for.
I'm going to get off right now. Good night, everybody. It's been wonderful.
Good night, Bobby.
But it's also really, it's just the next evolution of what always existed. It always comes back to money. Always. Television was driven that way with us growing up, and it always comes back to money. It was always about what was programmed wasn't how many shows in our lifetime could we point to that we loved, and that would be a good specialty episode, shows that disappeared way before their time. But they were pulled off because they didn't get ratings, not because they were or weren't good. They were pulled because they weren't making money. And there's a lot of trash that I have no understanding of why it still gets programmed, but it's because it makes money, period, end of story. And that's what it comes down to.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you go back into the 70s, Cousin Oliver coming on the Brady Bunch presaged that show's demise. It had jumped the shark so far before that. The ratings were so bad they had to inject this weird little character, and the advertisers said, "We don't like him." They actually said that, "Get him off the show."
Right.
And then that was the end of the show at the end of that season.
Right. Then Tiger ate him. And then
my favorite
Cindy found him in the doghouse. All right, let's move on to the next show. We got Ron is going to talk us through The Lighthouse, starring William Dafoe and future Batman.
That's right. So the Lighthouse, actually, I discovered the Lighthouse from my brother Richard, who actually, put me onto it. It's an Amazon Prime show for those Amazon folks out there, starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, who's most of you probably know from all the Twilight films. Howard, I know you're a big Twilight film guy.
Read the passage.
So the Lighthouse. It's a super interesting, dark movie. It's a black and white box frame film. It's filmed in square footage, not the normal, 16:9.
Oh, cool.
And it's entirely spoken in this old, craggy New England accent, the entire movie. In fact, as some people recommend, you should put the subtitles on while you watch this movie, even though it's in English. So the film's directed by Robert Eggers, who's 36 years old at the time he directed it. It's from last year. This dude, he cut his teeth telling like mythological tales, like the upcoming movie The Northman. And 2015, he became super famous from a movie called The Witch, which was an independent film that won all kinds of awards at Sundance and other art festivals. And oh, by the way, who had her breakout role in The Witch? Anybody?
I can't remember.
Anya Taylor-Joy, better known as Beth Harmon.
Oh, okay.
Beth Harmon from The Queen's Gambit from a couple episodes ago, boys.
Wow.
So that she was found by Robert Eggers and starred in The Witch. So this is the next film from Robert Eggers, The Lighthouse. So Lighthouse, it's like multiple stories all rolled together. It's a very difficult, complicated film. So you got to settle in and really observe it. It's the story of these two men, 1800s New England. They're tasked with manning a remote lighthouse what's supposed to be just a couple weeks. Super hard labor, hard work maintaining the station, and completely inhospitable conditions. Like it's like gale force storms all the time. The two dudes don't even know each other. So part of the story is kind of getting to know these two men, getting to know each other. One being Willem Dafoe's character, Thomas, who's kind of like the senior guy in charge, and the younger apprentice, Ephraim, played by Robert Pattinson. And as stories like this tend to happen, the unending weather mixed with all these bad omens that Robert Eggers puts into the story kind of lead to the stay at the lighthouse becoming much darker and longer. No sense of when relief is ever going to come because of the conditions, and a power dynamic begins to develop between the two men. And what you find out is that Ephraim, the younger one, Robert Pattinson's character, wants to understand all the secrets of the lighthouse and wants to be taught the lessons of the sea from Willem Dafoe's character. And the dude just refuses to share any of that stuff with him. In fact, Willem Dafoe's character won't even let Thomas go to the top of the lighthouse to ever see the light firsthand.
Aww.
And so when the alcohol runs out and kind of desperation starts to set in and the story continues, there's like a shifting of the characters, and I don't want to ruin it because this is really a terrific story that's told in an hour and 49 minutes. But the dynamic changes completely. Bad omens begin to happen, and Robert Eggers uses the myths that he's so fond of in his directing as a central part of the tale. Including, like one of the iconic lines from Willem Dafoe is his stern warning. He looks right at the camera and says in this craggy, terrible accent, "'Tis bad luck to kill a seabird." And because anyway,
good impersonation.
I've been saying that for years.
It's bad luck to kill a seabird. So the one thing I'm just going to say, and then I'll turn it back to you, Jeff, is the thing about Robert Eggers' stories, he's building a reputation for closely paralleling his stories to Greek tragedies or to myths themselves. So one of the things that I wish I had known before watching this movie, because it made so much more sense after I figured this out, is that this is a retelling of the story of Prometheus, the Greek god who defied the gods by climbing up to the heavens and stealing fire. And is punished by Zeus in a terrible way, which you'll have to look up or watch the movie, but because there's a parallel for this. And then it's also a parallel of Proteus, who's the sea god, the old sea god who could see the future, but won't share any of his knowledge with anybody that he deems unworthy of that, which is Willem Dafoe's character. So it's a super interesting parallel to Greek mythology. It's a dark, twisted movie, but I promise you at the end of it, you'll come away saying, that is a freaking genius storytelling I just heard.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Convince me, man.
I'm sold too. I want to watch that. I mean, my husband tried to get me to watch it, and I was like, no, because I'm not a fan of Robert Pattinson. No offense.
Yeah, I didn't know. I've never seen the Twilight films. I don't know anything about what he's up to now, but he does a great job in this movie. And it's a very hard character to play.
I believe you.
Yeah.
There's definitely some movies where they just kind of stand out. Like, you ever see? I don't know how you feel about James Franco, but the 127 Hours, amazing, riveting. He's there. He's just stuck with his arm in a rock the whole movie. It's like, incredible.
Ron loves dark, obscure films.
I do.
Robert says another good Robert Pattinson movie is Devil All the Time.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that's another story. It's a really good one.
What movie is that?
The Devil All the Time.
The Devil All the Time. I'll have to look into that.
It's super dark.
My favorite Lighthouse movie is Pete's Dragon.
Pete's Dragon. Aww.
The original?
Of course, the original with Helen Reddy.
Lots of
and
seabird killing in that.
There's a lot of seabird killing.
Dragon Heart.
I don't know about you guys. I freaking love lighthouses, and I always wondered, they're all modern and mechanical now, but like people actually freaking lived in these things, and like, how did they do that? And for months, years, sometimes at a time, and I just never understood what life was like. So that was part of the allure.
Ron.
Alcohol. Well, that's alcohol. Alcohol is a character.
17 pounds.
17 pounds of beef and all the alcohol you can drink.
Yeah.
So enjoy, boys and lady.
Very cool.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, very well done, Ron. Very well done.
All right. Now it's our guest spot. We got a TV show called DaVincis Demons, and Tina Marie is going to take us through it.
Yeah, so I actually discovered this show a few years ago and was completely obsessed. I probably binged it and finished it in 2 days. And I've always been a very big Leonardo da Vinci fan, period. And a lot of people know him as a painter, but he was so much more than that. He was a sculptor. He was an inventor. He was a painter. He studied human anatomy. He studied the stars. I mean, the guy was an absolute genius. So I can appreciate that about him. And so David S. Goyer is actually the person that wrote and produced this. And I don't remember what he did, but it was with the Dark Knight trilogy. And so the series is really so good in a way that DaVinci is really, you feel like there's a depression coming from him, but also there's like so much comedy within the show. And there's this amazing quote in it, and it's that time is a river, and what most fail to grasp is that the river is circular. One man's death opens the doorway to the birth of the next. And so DaVinci is on this road to figuring out like who his mother is. He can never see her face in his dreams. And that's like one of the main plot lines, but there's so many like side quests, if we're going to talk like it's a video game, in this show. And there's only 3 seasons. I feel like it ended way too soon. It ended in 2015. So Tom, I always want to say Tom Bateman, but it's not Tom Bateman. I can't remember his name right now. He's just so good at acting. Everybody in there is just an amazing actor. And I'm wearing this right now because Lucretia Donati. So if you guys know anything about Italian history, the Donatis and obviously DaVinci and everybody involved are non-fictional characters. And that's what also makes this so interesting and intriguing. I mean, DaVinci was the ultimate free thinker of Florence, Italy. And it's really analogy and metaphor heavy. And it's really about how you take it. It's not something you can sit down and just pretend to watch or halfway watch. You need to be involved with it, because then you get obsessed with these characters. You hate them, and then you love them, and then you hate them again. And the plot twists are just, you don't know what's going to happen, which is really, really rare for me, because I'm usually like, oh, I know what's coming. And anybody that studied DaVinci knows that he had ADHD and that none of his art was ever finished. And he was totally a type A perfectionist. And I feel like a lot of people in entertainment and even in podcasting are sort of like that in their minds a little bit. And I can appreciate that about him. They've got a lot of really cool cut scenes. The cinematics are amazing. The people are everybody's just beautiful. Except for the one guy. There's one guy that's not beautiful, and he's the evil priest. So he's not cute. And yeah, so I don't like Game of Thrones, but if I'm going to say anything about Game of Thrones is that this is better than it. So I would give it a shot.
Really?
Ooh.
Hey, I'm convinced now.
Better than
Yeah.
There's action, there's comedy, there's realism. It's just overall just a beautiful, beautiful show. Only 3 seasons. I've watched it 3 times. I'll watch it again. And yeah, that's all I'll give you.
I was going to ask it, and Robert just answered. It's on Prime. That's where you got it?
Yes.
Okay.
You gotta be special to watch it.
I'm in.
Perfect.
So
Pay attention.
Jerry just
You
wanted
get
to let
free
you know.
shipping in DaVinci's Demons.
Yeah. Exactly. So within the head of Fred is in the house. Check out Fred's podcast.
Oh, Fred.
Fred's got some great podcasts.
Hello,
The
Fred.
Cinephiles Flashback, the head of Fred. Oh, great. I was just guested on that not too long ago. Very cool guy. What's up, Fred? So David Goyer, who wrote DaVinci's Demons, like you said, he wrote the entire Dark Knight trilogy. He also wrote the original Blade trilogy.
Oh, for real?
Yes. And here's the boot. He is from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Wow.
There you
Wow.
go.
And
Yeah.
the actor's
Did not know that.
Tom Riley, I believe
Yes,
is
Tom
the actor.
Riley. Thank you.
And his spouse is Lizzie Kaplan,
Yes.
who in fact, the first show I ever mentioned when we did Crossing the Streams is Party Down, which was a Starz show also. And she was one of the mains in Starz, which I absolutely, or Party Down, which I absolutely love. So, yeah, interesting.
There we go.
Good deal. I have not seen that show.
Okay.
All right. I think we're good.
It's
And
on the
then,
list.
And then just Jerry, I missed this one from earlier, but Jerry thought the Lighthouse sounded like Closed and Afraid. 1800.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Even without Tom Hanks.
Fred doesn't want him being from Michigan. Michigan's amazing, and Ann Arbor actually is super cool. And
Jeff, you get so mad about Michigan if somebody doesn't like Michigan.
And David Goyer was also bar mitzvahed, so we got to give him that too.
Nice.
I know, right? And then, all right, Tina, that was great.
Very good job,
Excellent.
Tina.
Nice job.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Convinced me to watch it.
You convinced all of us. Yeah,
I'm
I'm all in on that. So it's good for guys and girls. Like my
Oh
wife.
my gosh, there's all kinds of debauchery and crazy stuff that guys and girls can both like.
Revenge?
I couldn't get my wife into.
I just end that sentence right there. It's her birthday, not your birthday.
right. I always used to tease her. I go put on the blonde wig, like on Father's Day. Like, not that she has a blonde wig, but I'm like, go put on the blonde wig. It's she'd be like, it's Father's Day, not how you became a Father's Day.
Oh my
Hey-o.
All right. All right, we got this is an interesting one that Bob is going to take us through. It is called Snowpiercer, starring Jennifer Connelly and DaVincis Diggs.
And David Diggs, who I met.
Yep.
But
You met David Diggs?
I did meet David Diggs.
Snowpiercer.
Well,
Jerry called me out on the pause. So. All right, let's get into Snowpiercer.
Yeah, David Diggs plays a detective in this story. The only homicide detective left on the planet, because he is on a train called Snowpiercer. So is Jennifer Connelly, and this is a TV version of I think it was 2013, the Snowpiercer movie, which was really good. Starred Chris Evans. You wouldn't picture Captain America in this role, but he played it really well. And it was directed by Bong Joon-ho, the guy who just won an Academy Award last year, right? Or this year.
Yeah, for Parasite.
Parasite, yeah, great movie. And I had to try and remember his name. I always forget that name, so I made sort of a mnemonic for it. Bong, it's something you smoke out in. Give me a month of the year, June, and any Kardashian. And that's where you get the Bong Joon-ho. Thank you, everybody. So, anyway, this is a really good show. It's on TNT of all things. It's not the kind of network you expect something like this on, but Snowpiercer, it actually takes place in 2021. This is where the story picks up. And the Earth is in another ice age. And there is a train called Snowpiercer, which is 1,001 cars long. And they remind you of this at the beginning of the show. And it's dropped, certain places during the body of the show. And the train was made by this shadowy billionaire who's just named Wilford. That's how he's known. And no one ever gets to see Wilford. He's somewhere on the train. He's commanding this whole thing. Jennifer Connelly plays Melanie Cable, who is the hospitality, I don't know, hospitality chief or whatever. But her role in the train is much, much more than that. There is, as you might expect, a murder that takes place. And the entire first season really is to unwind that and to figure out how that happened. And then, as you would imagine, a show about people on a train 1,001 cars long, there's lots of people problems. And the people in the back live in, that's called the tail. They were not invited to get on this train. They just sort of stormed it and got on. They didn't have any money. Everybody in front of the train obviously had lots of money to get to the front where all the great dining is and all the cool rooms. So there is class warfare up and down this train. It's a very interesting show. The special effects are great, but that's not the show really. It's about the interplay between the classes and how this murder shakes out. and what it all means. And then the first season ends with it's sort of teased actually throughout, even from the very first show. I think there's, I want to say 10 or 12 episodes. But the first season ends with that teaser coming to life, and it's good. It's a good waste of 50 minutes. That's how I'm going to describe Snowpiercer.
That's how
Give me 50 minutes of Jennifer Connelly. I'm good.
I'm starting to sense a theme with Bob that now we're talking about horizontal class warfare, whereas when he was talking about the platform a couple weeks ago, this was vertical class warfare here. So
it's just class warfare with me, Ron. I don't care vertical, horizontal. I want mayhem. I want I want butting of heads.
Is there an axe massacre scene?
No. There's several killings, and there are dead people in several places on this train. I'm not going to get into why they're there or who they are, but I would recommend it. Absolutely.
You know what I don't recommend? You know what I don't recommend? Actually being on a train. The
I disagree.
Well, hang on. I guess my point is, so we were going to Chicago, and we go to the train stop, and we get there, and it just looks like a bus stop. But when I say a bus stop, I mean a bench.
I've been there.
And there, I'm like, I'd never ridden on a train before, and we thought we thought we were in the wrong place. So no, it just stops. You get on. And the other thing, you really have to think about when you have kids and a train is they can't carry their own luggage. So I had to carry everything and get on the train while it's like going, and it was
sounds restful.
I can see why there's class warfare on the train.
Well, you get class warfare on an Amtrak 30-minute, out of
try a Greyhound.
Ann Arbor. Yeah.
Bob,
trains are bad.
Bob, you said there was.
We did a train from London to Paris, and it was amazing.
I took the English Channel. That was not fun. There's no restrooms on a submarine.
I think Jerry's got it. Jerry nailed it. They're like slow buses with bathrooms and snack bars That's the only thing.
They're slow. They're slow here. As soon as we get bullet trains,
but not Snowpiercer.
Not the made up train.
Oh, by the way, it goes around the Earth 2.7 times every year. So every 133 days, it makes a revolution around the Earth.
So it's a small planet,
which is a giant snowball. Yes, it's in constant motion.
It's Pluto.
Spoiler alert, there, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh man, we've gotten a lot of comments. We'll have to have Tina on all the time. People just
I didn't see any. I don't see them.
No, you got all right. Well, let's
Jeff filters them.
I can't bring them all up because but we see them and we appreciate it and we love all of you. So the final show for the week is Mythic Quest. We don't everyone gets to turn in their own shows at the beginning. So to have 2 fantasy shows is a coincidence, but that's the way it works. It's just, we go with what the universe gives us.
It's not really a fantasy show per se. It's so Mythic Quest, Raven's Banquet on Apple TV Plus is a comedy. It's created by Rob McElhenney and Charlie Day, both from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and Charlie Day from the Horrible Bosses movies. It is so the gist of the show is Mythic Quest is, for lack of a better term, it's World of Warcraft. It's the largest massive multiplayer online role-playing game in the world. And it's been around for a couple of years, and they're just about, as the first episode starts, to launch Raven's Banquet, which is the first ever extension to the game. And it's got a little bit of Silicon Valley in it. It's definitely a comedy. The characters and the casting are so great. So Rob McElhenney plays Ian, who's the guy who it was his vision that created the game. Poppy Lee is the character who's the lead engineer. There's a guy who's the creative director and executive producer. F. Murray Abraham from Amadeus and Omar in Scarface is kind of an advisor. Yeah. He's kind of an advisor.
Oh,
he's
Murray Abraham
great.
I'm in.
He's so great. He's kind of an advisor on the storyline because he was a fantasy book writer from the 70s who's got no connection to the game. He just has a connection to fantasy stories to advise Rob McElhenney's character. And then there's some other side characters. There's a great character who at the beginning is being hired to be the executive producer's assistant and ends up kind of taking the position as Ian's assistant, who is so great. Her name's Jo is the character's name, and she's just hysterical, so out there, but great. So like I said, it's got a little bit of Silicon Valley. The other really cool thing about the show is they designed it in partnership with Ubisoft, the computer game, Assassin's Creed, among others that they've created. So they incorporate that, all the parts of the show when they're actually showing gameplay, or they do these cutscenes that are they're all created as if they're an actual video game.
Awesome.
Which really makes it cool. So yeah, they did 9 original episodes of the show that, typical super fast comedy. It's great. There's a lot of kind of gamer kind of speak and making fun of, if you've watched Twitch or been on Steam or any of those kind of things. There's a lot of inside gaming jokes, but they make them a little bit more mainstream the way they utilize them. And then they did a 10th episode during quarantine that they did entirely online, and it's great. It's really, really great the way they did it, because I think it helped that it was set in the show set in a technology space. So to do a show that was entirely reliant on technology like Zoom made it so much more realistic. It wasn't forced. It was excellent. And then there's also a show right in the middle that has no connection, you don't think, to the actual show. It's entirely different characters taking place in the starting in like the mid 80s, of this couple who built a totally different game and grew the game. And then, and you're like, that's a really weird episode. And it's tied to the later elements of the season in a really amazing way, a very charming way. So it seems like a totally nonsensical plot for one episode, but it really fits great at the end of the first season. Good characters, super funny. And again, F. Murray Abraham is amazing. And yeah, it was a super easy watch. I watched it in, I think I did 8 episodes immediately and finished 2 the next afternoon. I was really surprised. It was really good laughs and easy laughs and smart laughs too. So I very much enjoyed it. So
we just need to explain to Bob again how to get Apple TV Plus, and I think we'll be golden.
Yeah.
Serious.
I still got to figure out my close and play.
I do want to point out that the way Bob has his camera, the logo, I don't know, can you guys see it? It cuts right on top of his head. It's just too perfect.
What logo?
Perfect for me. Like it's
well, maybe because you're on your phone, you don't see the whole thing.
I don't.
So a couple of things. Is a recap, and that was awesome, Howard. That was awesome.
Thank you, job, Howard.
For Snowpiercer, the Earth is frozen, so it can't stop. I think that's a plot point. And you can, and then I think when Robert talked about the axe murdering, I think the movie has a lovely axe murdering scene, which is good.
Mhm.
Some more.
And then Robert gives me props for hosting.
Yay, Jeff.
Thank you. I
All right.
appreciate it. So anyway, so
I like
we
that
do,
that he referred to us as a panel show.
I think that's what they call it. I think that's what we are.
Okay.
But so
It sounds like something from the 70s.
so that's going to be awesome. So is Mythic Quest? You have to be into video games, Howard, to like this show, or is it?
You don't have to be into video games. I think it adds a little bit, but just as an example, there's the plot line in one of the episodes is that they discover that in their demographic research that they're the #1 online role-playing game for white supremacists, and there's a whole thing that the whole show then becomes about Nazis playing the game and what they do during the game, and it. Like you're like, okay, that's a little odd, but it's great. And F. Murray Abraham's response when he finds out that there's Nazis is such a great F. Murray Abraham type. It's fantastic.
I'm sure there's something deeper there.
I think Jerry just tapped into something on here. We called us the streaming bunch, which is it's so obvious.
It really is.
Like one of those things, like oh
idea
yeah.
with that.
That's a compliment, Jerry. When a comedian says that's obvious, because
Good job, Jerry.
you didn't think of it, but like it's just when you hear it, you're like, oh my god. We might have to steal. We might steal that, Jerry. I'll have our people call
You
your
guys
people.
should, Jeff. You should have like everybody say goodnight in their little boxes and like turn off the lights one by one.
Oh, that would that's a lot. We'll have to. I need to work up to that. Jess Paul, just not to brag, Jess follows the YouTube channel. So thank you, Jess. I'm glad you're learning. We're here every week. Oh, you can come on, Jess. Have your people call my people. I'll have you on.
I don't have
And then
real quick, sorry. That's another one of the kind of takes they have is there's a gamer character who's the #1 followed online gamer who kind of interacts with the show, and it's such a great take on what a current internet only celebrity is. It's a great character named Pootie Shoes.
Cutie pie.
All right, now that sold me right there. That's
That
perfect.
It's great.
So this is great. So we're gonna wrap it up. I'll go. I'll kind of go first, but so I'm Jeff Dwoskin, host of the Jeff Dwoskin Show. Check out my podcast. I do want to say we're not going to talk about Wonder Woman 1984 or Soul or anything like that, but Pop Culture Cosmos, they did a thing on it. You can go listen to their review. But I will say I watched the very first Wonder Woman with Linda Carter because HBO Max was streaming the whole thing. And the very first episode is like a mini version of the first Wonder Woman. He gets shot down and he lands on the thing and she saves him. And there's like it's funny to watch what the 70s thought Nazis were on TV.
The production values are so bad.
It's so dumb. It's so
on a string.
I know. It's like, and then the guy who plays, why am I blanking on his name?
The fact that Colonel Klink made an appearance was a surprise.
Yeah, it was just so funny. But you got to check it. You got to check it out. Anyway, so I'm Jeff Dwoskin. Thank you guys for joining us. Bob, say goodnight.
Oh, well, we're doing a little plug here for everybody.
Well, as long as
We're
you don't
just
take 5
saying
minutes
goodnight.
asking, yeah. Just say goodnight. Do a quick plug. Move on.
Okay. Hey, all right. Look for me on the Sal and Bob Show. We're all over the place. We're so social.
Howard?
You can see my website, bobphillipscomedy.com. Howard goes to my website every now and again. I know Sal does too. And let's see. No, you guys go ahead.
Happy New Year, everybody. That's all I have.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, Sal D'Amelio.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for coming,
Yes.
Tina.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tina.
Goodbye to my
Enjoyed you.
mother-in-law.
Wonderful guest.
Say goodnight, Tina.
Thank you. Oh, good night.
Happy New Year.
And here come the end credits. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. 9:30 Wednesday p.m. Eastern.
See you next week.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Crossing the Streams, brought to you by scenesnobs.com and part of the Jeff Dwoskin Show. Your hosts, of course, Jeff Dwoskin, Sal D'Amelio, Bob Phillips, Ron Lippett, and Howard Rosner. Follow us all on the socials, and we'll see you next week and every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Mark your calendars. We're going live and crossing more streams.